Okay, so let's have a go at working up another logo. I've got a new document already open in Illustrator, and then I'm going to place the sketched image in there. So go look for the folder, and that's the image I want. Click on template down the bottom here and place. Now if we go and open up our layers folder, go into window layers, templates there. Let me just move that up a bit so we can see it a bit more, and just blow it up a little bit as well. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, we've got a layer ready to start with there. So we need to decide the best way to create this logo symbol here. And there are a few ways you could do it. I mean, you could try and look for a type that is very similar to this, but that's probably going to take you quite a while. You could try drawing it with a pen, and I'm just going to quickly show you that, just so you have other logo designs that are a little bit more complicated, just so you know how to use the pen properly. So just have a go at doing part of this with a pen. So I'd click on a point, and then I'd go to another point and pull in a curve, and do exactly the same thing. Pull a curve, and again pull it round, and let's go for the middle there. Whoops, that's probably not very good. Undo that. I'm going to go right to the end instead. And then when you want to make a straight line, just click on exactly the same point. Okay, so we'll go around here and pull. Pulling gives you the curve. Okay, you don't need to worry at this stage if it's not that accurate, because we can adjust those points just how I showed you before. So basically you're putting a point down, you're pulling it again, and then we want this bit to be straight, so I'm going to click on the same point and go back to the end point. As you can see, it's not particularly tidy, but you could go into, let me just have a look, go into the little open arrow tool, and we could start moving these points around to try and get it to be tidy. But you can see doing something like this is actually going to take quite a lot of time, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to try and get that to be accurate. So in this case, I'll delete that and start using some shapes that we can break up. So I'm going to use the ellipse tool, and to get it to start from the center point, you hold down the Alt or the Option key, and then I don't want it to be a circle, I want it to be slightly off circle, so I'm not going to hold the Shift key in this case. I'm just going to pull and try and get that the circle to be in the center of what we've drawn there. Okay, I don't want to fill, I just want a stroke, so I'm going to delete the fill there. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm just going to move it down a little bit. Now we don't really want this full ellipse, so what we're going to do is cut it. We can do that with the scissor tool, and that's actually hidden underneath the eraser tool. So if we just put a couple of points like that, and then if I go to the open arrow tool, select that little piece and delete it, and then we've got the kind of the shape we want. Might have to just tweak and move that around a little bit. Now then we want that stroke obviously to be a lot thicker, so we go into window and stroke, got the stroke palette up, and then we can experiment with the width of that. So I don't actually know if I want it quite as thick as I've drawn it, so I think I might leave it at that for now, and we can always come back and edit that later. So now we need to create this N shape down here, and we could probably use an ellipse tool, but I think I'm going to try the rounded corner rectangle for that, which you can find just over here. And you can alter the settings for this by clicking either the Option on a Mac or the Alt, I think, on a PC. Double click, and you can change the corner radius, and I'm going to go for something fairly high. Let's try 30. I'll just delete that because I want to draw it where I want it. And then to make, obviously I want this to kind of be the center point just here, so I'm going to hold down the Option, say, or Alt key there, and I'm going to try pulling that out to create the N. Okay, let's try that for now. Might be a little bit too wide. So I'm going to pull in some rulers. So if we just go View, Rulers, Show Rulers, and then just let's try lining this up a little bit. No, it's not too bad, it's not far off. It's obviously slightly out from our sketch, but that's fine. So let's go with that for now. And then obviously I don't want the bottom section here, so I'm going to do the same things we did before, but this time I'm going to need to put a ruler there so I know exactly where I'm cutting. Let's try there. So get the scissors tool again, click there and the other side, and you can see we've left with this bit that we can just hit delete. Oh, hit delete again. Okay, so let's just take a look at that. Let's get in there. So now we also need to create the dot just here. So we're going to use the ellipse tool to do that again. So got the ellipse tool, hold down Option or Alt, and then pull out your circle. Oh, and it's on stroke at the moment, so you want to switch that so it becomes the fill. Okay, perhaps make that a little bit smaller. Let's have a look without the template on. I'm not that sure about that. I think it's jarring a little bit with the bit below it. So what I think I'm going to do is try making that a square instead, so the dot is a square. I'm going to get rid of that. Let's put the template back on a minute. Let's try using the square tool. I'm going to pull in another ruler just to try and get a level from there. See how that looks. Okay. Now, I think that's looking better, but I think we need that to be parallel with the square here. So we can do that. What we're going to do is make this into a shape rather than a stroke. At the moment, that's just a thick stroke. So we can go Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And we can now try and level that up a bit. I'm going to just zoom in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do there is adding an extra point. So there's a plus, little pen with a plus there. I'm going to click, oops, just click just on there. I'll keep missing it there. Let me blow it up a little bit more. Okay. That's it, I managed to get it that time. And then I'm going to delete this one at the top. I'm just going to move that down a touch. And then to stop this curving up here, I can just use this little Convert Anchor Point tool. Okay, now we're up close. I can straighten that up a little bit as well. Okay, let's have a look at that. I think that's looking better. You could probably play around a little bit and work out where that looks best. Now I'm going to convert the bottom end to an outline as well. So if we go back to the arrow, select that in, and we go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke again. I'm going to colour one of these up a different colour, so not a different colour, a different tint. So let's go for a 50% up there. 50%. Now what we're going to do is try and break these two shapes up so we can make it look like they're interlinking with each other. So we're going to select both of them, and if we go to Window, Pathfinder, we'll see little different options here. And this one is basically Divide, which splits all those overlapping shapes. So I'm going to hit that. Okay, just to show you what happened here, basically all these bits are now separate. So if we wanted to make that look like that's going over, that's fine at the moment. But then of course we want this bit really to be the grey colour, because we want it to be looking like it's going under. So we can do that by simply sampling the colour from there. That's using the dropper tool. And then we might want to join all those pieces together. So those 3 pieces there, we can just go over to here and go merge. Okay, and we're going to join, do exactly the same thing with these 3 pieces. We're going to go to merge. That's missed off the other bit. Let's try again. Merge, that's it. Now we can think about putting a square or a rectangle around that. So I'm going to just zoom down just a little bit. I'm going to put the template back on. I think it needs to come in a little bit closer than I've drawn it there. So let's have a go at this. The only trouble is, see, we've got this now covering it, and we could do what we did before and go arrange centre back. But what I'm going to do is put this on another layer. So if I go over to here to the layers palette, go new layer, layer 3. You can name them obviously. I'm going to move. You see this little dot in the corner here? I'm going to move. Let me get back on the box. I'm going to move that up, and then I want this box to be at the bottom. So I'm just going to drag that to the bottom. I'm going to remove the template again. Now obviously you can see I've got a bit of a problem here because the background is black and also my N is black. So I'm going to select the N and I'm going to colour it in white. I've got my colour palette here, so I can just literally drag this down for that to become white. So let's just hide those guides so we get a better look. You can do that by going to View, Guides, Hide Guides, and let's save the file because I think that's getting there now. So go File, Save As, and I want it to be an Illustrator GPS. I'll put CIN logo. That's fine. Illustrator. I'm using Illustrator CS5, yeah, that's fine. Transparent, you can obviously save that down if you're using a different version. Transparent, okay. Okay, then we can start looking at the typography. So let's just zoom down on this a little bit, zoom out. We can start working with some type. Now you could do an extra layer for this if you wanted. So basically we could lock those bits in place so that if I try to move that, nothing now. And let's move this over. Okay, on our new layer, type in continuous improvement. Let's work. Whoops. And then do the same as you did before. Have a look under font and font squirrel and try out a few different typefaces. So I'm just going to get my type palette out. Let's have a look. I think I found one I liked. So let's try this. I quite like that. Okay, it's leaded out too much, so we're going to take a bit of the leading away. It might even pick the bolder font, might look better. Let's try it and see what we think. I don't like the spacing on this. I think it's way too spaced out. So I'm going to overall take some out here. Let's try that. I think you can go more than that even. I'm going to try -50. That's getting a bit better. Might even take a bit more out. -60. And then you can go into individual letters, and I'll just do a few. So take a bit of kerning, that's probably too much. Between here. So I'll actually add a little bit there. So I'm going to go +20 there. I'll let you fiddle around a little bit more with that. I think I'm going to need to make this icon smaller, so I'm going to have to unlock it. So you just do that by taking away the little padlock keys here. So I'm going to grab the whole thing. I'm going to hold down my shift key and go like that. And I'm going to just reduce that down. Go on the scale tool, reduce that down a little bit, maybe slightly bigger. And let's move this type back over. And I'm going to lock those two layers back down again. Now I'm going to just reduce that type by grabbing the corner. I'm going to pull in some rulers. I can't see our guides. View, guides, show guides. That's it, we can see the rulers now. And there's another one already down at the bottom there. Let's play around with the lead in there. Okay, maybe tweak that up a little bit. Let's move the guide so we can just have a look. I think that might need to be tightened up a little bit more. Maybe. Let's try that. Let's just scale it up a little bit again. I'll leave you to play around with that a little bit more. And then I'm going to try adding in the strap line to this one. So let's pull in some rulers. I might put one in here. We don't necessarily need one on the right, but maybe I'll pull it out of the way. So the strap line was crowd sourced continuous improvement. I'm going to stick with the same typeface but go for a regular weight, I think. Take that up a little bit. I probably don't want it spaced out quite so much, so let's take a little bit of that off. A bit more still. Okay, and just scale that down. Let's take a look at that without the guides on. So view guides, hide guides. And that's not bad. I might actually try putting a dividing line in there. So let's put the guides back on a second. And just try drawing a line. So I'm using the pen tool. Just put a dot there. Hold down your shift key to make sure the line is horizontal. And just there. Obviously at the moment it's a fill, so I want a stroke. Let's just look at the stroke palette. And then you can play around with different weights of line. I'm going to move the guides a minute, so let's just hide my guides. So play around. Let's see if a heavy one, because that's probably too much. But that's not too bad. It's probably getting there. Kerning's bothering me now. Just going to have to go in and tweak that a little bit. But I'll let you do that some more. So I think that's getting there.